Welcome back to the 60 Hour Network. I am your host, Randolph. Some call me Randy. First and foremost, shout out to all my Zoes. Sock Passe. Next, shout out to all my Prince Hall Masons. Travel light, my brothers. And above all else, shout out to all my fellow Americans in this beautiful country of ours. The land of the hustlers. If you built for it. All right. As usual, we got a good show for you. You know at the 60 Hour Network, we're all about health and getting to our goals through work ethic and discipline. No shortcuts, no shortcuts. The hard way, the long way. If you're new here, like, share, and subscribe, and let the people know what we talk about over here. We trust that the show we give you is quality enough to speak for itself. We discuss a wide range of topics, and we always get back to the kingdom. What's the kingdom? Your mind, your body, and your choices, the people you choose, and the results of your decisions. That is the kingdom. Okay, now that we got that out the way, let's get down to business. As you see sliding at the bottom of your screen, I help people with their health goals. If you're thinking about getting on your health journey and don't know where to go to get started, I'm here to help you out. Look, just send me a DM to my IG with the word workout and your email address. I'll get you set up. Why does it start with 60 hours? Some of you are probably wondering. Because if you're only doing 40 hours a week, you're probably not that valuable. Not to yourself and not to others. Work ethic is going to be discussed a lot on this network. Why? Because it reflects in every facet of our lives. How you do anything is how you do everything. Most people who I call normies or agents, do not care about their health. They're lazy and impatient. If you are a man or woman who respects your health and you lift weights, those hours you put in the gym count towards your 60 plus hours. So does increasing your education, starting a business, or learning a skill you can monetize, such as physical training, becoming a plumber, electrician, so on or so forth. No matter what, if you don't respect your health, you're not a part of this hardworking and successful network of men and women. In addition to that, there's going to be a lot of sex talk. A lot of sex talk. Now, that shouldn't surprise you because health and sex are like sugar and cookies. Pun intended. Also, because lifting weights increases your testosterone and sex drive, especially when doing lower body. I, for one, can tell you my testosterone and libido are through the roof. There's only one way to do it, in my opinion, the long way. If you're out of shape, we have a lot of time to talk about that because, like I said, I'm here to help you. If you think I can't help you or don't understand your challenges with being out of shape, I want you to look at this. Check this out. Let me pull it up. Look at this. This is me, 2021, right after the pandemic. It's also me 3 years later, and I think around 2023, 2024. Just look at it. Where do you think I was in that first pick mentally? What do you think I had to learn? What kind of challenges did I have to face every day to turn my life around? The people laughing at me like I was done. The false friends. Does any of this sound familiar? I know it does because I get it. I fought those things day in and day out, and I came out with an understanding. The only way out is the way through. Whatever your goal is in life, I can prove how it ties to the quality of your health. Most people think health is just physical. And as the network grows, we will show how incorrect that is. Your health goal, the weight you want to lose or gain, the way you desire to look, all of it is a reflection of how you perceive yourself. I won't lie to you, America. Let me take this down for y'all. I know y'all tired of seeing that. I'm not going to lie to you, America. I had help. I had a mentor, my personal trainer. And I learned a lot from what was shown to me. I'm not ashamed to say I was a grown man who had a mentor. It made me better. And great men have the power to guide other men. You may think by having a mentor, I was having a whole bunch of long-winded conversations. It was nothing like that. Nothing. It was simple. Quite simple. You know what my trainer said to me? 5 a.m. Gym. Don't be late. And that's what I'm saying to you. 5 a.m. Gym. Don't be late. Let me tell you something. If you heard 5 a.m. and your heart skipped a beat, that's because it got personal. You know why your heart skipped? Because you imagined having to go to sleep early. I know. You saw the early morning with no distractions and you got scared. You know why? Because waking up in that silence would force you to face your problems. It's getting personal, ain't it? Over here, we don't subscribe to the idea of abandoning our health. Nothing is more important than the breaths we take. Here's the main benefit to lifting weights. Quality of life. Seriously, quality of life. We don't know how long we are going to live. What we can do is influence the quality of every breath we take by having more self-respect. You heard that? Self-respect. Because I don't care what you say. I really don't. The dad bod is not in style, and it will not ever be in style. The dad bod is not in style, and it will not ever be in style. I made sure not to say never because I'm a little superstitious. I'm not going to say never, so I will say not ever. I broke it down to show you how serious I am. I don't approve of the dad bod. I don't care what any man argues about it. We lift heavy shit over here. We wake up early. Let me get this right, because this dad bod stuff is bothering me. Look, we lift heavy shit over here. We wake up early. We build the kingdom. And we break backs. And I want that for you too. So, let's get to the main event. I know what you've been waiting for. The Multi-Man. That is the title of this show. You've been wondering, this dude's talking about men and multi-men. What's that got to do, huh? Don't worry, I got you. Let me pull this up. Let's pull this up here. Check this out. Did you know that men are capable of having multiple orgasms? It's true. Men are capable of having multiple orgasms, just like women. Just like women. In this episode of the Multi-Man series, we are going to tackle some of the basic processes and physical requirements to pull off these powerful sex techniques. So check this book out. I actually bought it. It's called The Multi-Orgasmic Man. Now let me get the title of these people. You know, I respect writers here. Let me pull it up. Give me a second here. This would be the time I don't want to pull up, right? It's coming. All right, I'll get another way. Here's how I'm going to do it. All right, this book was written by Douglas Arava and Mantak Chia. I had to get that right. It was written by Douglas Arava and Mantak Chia. All right. Some of you, I'm pretty sure most of you have not heard of this book, okay? Because most of America's out of shape, so don't lie. Y'all know how to pull off these techniques. I'm here to help you. The Multi-Orgasmic Man. So that's the title and the author. And I got this book from an old friend. Now, this was back in my 20s. I'm 36. This was back in like my mid-20s. Like, I can't really guess too much. It was in my 20s. It was an old friend I was dealing with back then. And this book here really elevated my sexual potential, let me tell you. And I got it from her. So, yeah, so I got to give her credit. I'm not going to say who did. But she gave it to me, and it really changed my life. It was very helpful. I also got to practice some things, too. That was cool. Now look, I say potential because to really pull off these techniques we're going into to discuss, you need a safe and consensual partner. You can practice some of these techniques on your own, and until you get a consensual partner, you can just process it for when that time comes. And now it's important to see the disclaimer. Look at the top of my screen. Look, read it. I know you've been seeing it. Disclaimer, the 60-hour network is an advocate for abstinence. We think every experience is better when you have discipline, along with a carefully vetted, trustworthy partner. It's one of the best ways to stay safe and private, and you need both for a great experience. So practice abstinence, America. That's what we advocate over here. We're not against it. We just say be smart, man. Don't be out here being reckless. Follow the rules. Look, before we get started, it's important to mention that if you are a man or woman who is out of shape, you are going to have a hard time using some of these powerful techniques. Honestly, I would recommend not doing it until you get in shape. Have no fear. The 60-hour network is here. All you have to do is send me a message and I'll help you out with that. Like, don't say I'm not trying to help you. We put our money where our mouth is over here. No matter how good you think you're doing it, you have physical limitations. Once you are in a healthy physical form, you will see that there is not much difference between men in the bedroom. It's about psychology, the psychology of it. And that allows us to dive into the health of things and all of its benefits. We're going to cover this book in parts because it's quite expansive. On this episode, we are going to talk about important points from chapter 1 and some important things from the preface. So let's get to it. The first thing we're going to cover is some sexual secrets here. Sexual secrets, what's that? Yo, we getting into it. The secrets. All right. I'm going to pull this up. It's going to take up the whole string, all right? Read along with me. I'll read it for you. The sexual secrets. This is an excerpt from the book. Let's read it out loud. All right. Sexual secrets. Like, I'm going to read out the sexual secrets first. You know, I respect writers because I'm a writer, so we'll pull out some tidbits of info and expound on them. Rather than just copy and paste, no one likes that and is very lazy. So look at the sexual secrets here. In this book, you will learn to have multiple orgasms without losing your erection. That's pretty cool, right? That's what we've been talking about. Oh, raise your sperm count. That's cool. Let me see. Increase your sexual strength in middle and older age. Maintain the passion in your relationship as you age together. Oh, okay. Okay, so these dad bods, they can't pull this off right now. They can't. Well, I'm here to help them. Are they going to take it? I don't know. But look, recognize the signs of your partner's desire. Oh, the ladies probably going to wake up with that. Recognize the signs of your partner's desire. Help your partner become multi-orgasmic. Oh, shit, they talking over here. Make all sex safe or premature. I'm not going to say that word. We're going to substitute that for release because of YouTube. I don't know what they're going to do. There's some pretty good stuff here. You know what keeps coming back to me is to recognize the signs of your partner's desire. That's what you call chemistry right there. You really shouldn't be hooking up with someone you don't have chemistry with in the first place. All right, we got that down? I'm going to give you another few seconds to look at that, all right? Because we got to move on. It's a lot in here. All right, that's gone. All right, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of the introduction, all right? This is what the majority of men and women do not know. Men are capable of having multiple orgasms. I'll say it again. Men are capable of having multiple orgasms. They're called multi-man. There is a difference between the release a man gets and an actual orgasm. So let's check out this introduction. I'm not going to give you a snippet. I'm going to read this one out loud for you here. Now, do I have a snippet for you? Let me check. Let me take a look. All right, I'm going to read this one out loud for you, right? Here's the introduction. All right, over 3,000 years ago, the Chinese recognized that men can achieve multiple orgasms by delaying and even withholding release. Remember, I'm not saying that E word. It's going to just be release. This is possible because orgasm and release are two distinct physical processes. though they have long been equated in the West, here in America. Although clearly less precise than today's sex researchers, the ancient Chinese recorded their findings in detail for future generations of sexual and spiritual seekers. In the West, again, it just shows you how we weak over here in the West. In the West, it was not until the 1940s that pioneering sex researcher Alfred Kinsey reported similar discoveries. Yet even several decades later, after his claims have been proved repeatedly in the laboratory, most men remain unaware of their multi-orgasmic potential. Without this knowledge and without a clear technique, men are unable to feel the difference between crescendo of orgasm and the crash of release. Male sexuality in the West remains incorrectly focused on the inevitably disappointing goal of ejaculation. I said it. Getting off. Y'all gotta let me off with that. Instead of the orgasm process of lovemaking. The multi-orgasmic man shows men how to separate orgasm and ejaculation in their own bodies. I did it again. Slow down. Allowing them to transform the momentary release into countless peaks of whole body orgasms. In the words of one multi-orgasmic man, in the normal everyday sort of ejaculation, my pleasure is quickly over with. Not so in multiple orgasms. The pleasure generated here stays with me throughout the day. There seems to be no final peak to this pleasure either. This practice offers the added bonus of affording extra energy, so I am just never tired. Energy, huh? Not getting tired. Now, I can have as much sex as I want and I can control it rather than have it control me. That leads into abstinence. You see how it ties in? What more can a man ask for? The multi-orgasmic man also shows men how to satisfy the multi-orgasmic potential of their partners. So if you're dealing with a man, ladies, that has this kind of power, he can wake that up in you too. One multi-orgasmic man who had been practicing the techniques in this book for 3 months explained his experience. So this guy says something here. Basically, I have slept with 3 women since starting to practice these techniques, and all 3 have told me that I was their best. Literally said it to me while we were in bed. This is the best I have ever had. Now, that could be BS. Like, we know how women are. Women know how women are. Okay? When they like us, we are the best they ever had. When their feelings change, all of a sudden, you never made her come. She's had bigger. You didn't eat it right. She will throw everything out the sink to pop your bubble. Like, seriously, look at this, man. Check this out, bro. I'm going to bring you home with this. I've had women at the beginning, they treated me like this. I've had women at the beginning, when they saw me, they treated me like this, bro. Y'all know who that is, right? They were saying all kind of beautiful shit to me, man. They're like,
they say your mother is an immortal goddess. They say you can't be killed.
Damn, baby, shit. I like the way that sounds. Can you say that again, please? Can you say that again, please?
They say your mother is an immortal goddess. They say you can't be killed.
Damn, bro. Holy shit, bro. I've had women treating me like that, bro. Like, seriously. Let me tell you how quickly that changed. I went from being treated like a man who could slay gods to this, bro. Y'all ready? I went from being a man who could slay gods to this. Hold on a second, bro. There we go. I went from being a man who could slay gods to this, bro. Dead ass. I'm like, damn, baby, you don't love me no more?
Precious.
Like, bro, I thought I could slay gods, bro. Damn, bro, what's up? I thought I could slay gods.
Precious.
Bro, I thought I was killing it, bro. Yo, that stuff will transition you real quick Once you experience something like that, bro, you're not gonna get fooled anymore. I just had to make it clear. I think that dude bullshitting on that. Like, she could have been saying that, man. Let me adjust that. She could have just been saying that because she liked you at the time. Seriously. That happens a lot quicker than you think. Like, seriously. Like, damn, I thought you was rocking with me, bro. I thought you was rocking with me, man. You ain't rocking with me no more? Alright, damn. So I don't know about this dude. You know what I'm saying? Those women could have been lying to you, bro. They tell us a lot of nice things when they like us. When they don't, not so much, bro. All right, let's finish up the intro. All right. I think I got the introduction up here. Okay, yeah, I think we're done with that intro. All right, let's go to the next page, all right? Some of you are still skeptical. Well, maybe these exercises will help bring you to the table. Hold on, I'm having some technical difficulties here. This might keep dropping. All right, that should make it better. All right, let's look at some of these exercises, all right? Hold on a second. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. Should I show you the exercises first? I think I want to show you the warning first. I think that's a better idea. All right, man, this book is kind of dangerous here. So, you know what? Let's follow the script here. All right. So let's look up some of these exercises. I'll show you the exercises first. Check this out. Here's some sexual secrets over here, which we showed you already. Here are the exercises. Some of this stuff is funny to see. Check this out. Where did it go? Oops. That's funny. Oops. Inhale through your nose, belly laughing, emptying your bladder, pelvic pressure, loosening up, the art and science of using condoms. Yeah, a lot of you don't use it, right? Basic guidelines, pressure in your head, pain, what you might experience, and some cautions. And you see, this is some high-level stuff here, right? So we're going to start with something basic here. Let me show you something else. There's another set of exercises here I want to show you. And I'll read that off in a second here. They have a lot in here. So the techniques you see here are much more advanced. We're going to cover these in later episodes. So we're going to start off with some of the basics. Check out this list. All right, this second list here. Looks like I don't have that ready for you, but I'll read it for you. The belly breathing, we're going to start talking about that, some breathing basics, right? Of course, breathing is important. So let's start with some breathing basics here. Belly breathing. All right, sorry for the technical delays here, people. There we go. Found it, everyone. Thanks for being patient with me there. Belly breathing. Bam, there we go. All right, read that off for a second. Let's start with the basics here. All right, let me read off some breathing basics for you. All right, strange as it may seem, learning to control your release and to become multiply orgasmic begins with strengthening and deepening your breathing. As is true in all martial arts and meditative practices, your breath is the gate through which you can gain control of your body. Breathing is both involuntary and voluntary. In other words, we breathe regularly without thinking about it, but we can also choose to change the rhythm of or depth of our breathing. This use of the mind to cultivate the body is the very basis of sexual kung fu. You heard that right. Your breathing is also related to your heart rate. We keep getting back to health. Your breathing is also related to your heart rate. If you are breathing quickly and shallowly, as after running, your heart rate increases. If you are breathing slowly and deeply, your heart rate decreases. As we learned earlier, increased heart rate is a part of orgasm, and breathing quickly is one sign of orgasm's approach. So the first step in controlling your arousal rate, and therefore your release, is deep and slow breathing. No, that was powerful right there. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you run down the street without getting out of breath? Do you have an active lifestyle? Like I said before, how you do anything is how you do everything. I don't think it's fair to expect your woman to be in shape if you are not in shape. I mean, who is the kingdom? It gets real quick over here. Now, if you are already in shape, then you can begin practicing some of these techniques. If you are beginning your health journey, you will also be able to access these techniques and increase your quality of your life. Never forget, quality is better than quantity. So practice abstinence. Now that we have an understanding on how important breathing is, we can talk about what we are doing while we are breathing, because I think some of you still don't get it. The difference between an orgasm and a release. So we're going to talk about finding the way. Look at this, finding the way. Oops. Yeah, they got it right. If you are having difficulty separating your orgasm from your release, you can begin drawing the sexual energy up your spine before you orgasm. I want to read that again because that was powerful. If you're having difficulty separating your orgasm from your release, caught myself, you can begin drawing the sexual energy up your spine before you orgasm. According to the Tao, the real key to whole body pleasure and healing, the real key to whole body pleasure and healing is the circulation of this sexual energy through the microcosmic orbit. Once you start drawing sexual energy up, you may discover that you have orgasmic feelings in your brain or in other parts of your body or in your entire body. So ladies, that's one of the initial techniques that you can practice with your partner. Assuming he's in shape and possesses creative energy. If your man lifts weights, then yes, he has creative energy and he uses it every day. Working out is a creative practice. You are creating the body that you want through constant chiseling of the muscle. That's nothing but creative energy. Nothing but creative energy. In the gym, you have to control your breathing when you lift weights. If you don't, you will lose strength quickly and you may even pass out. The same is true in sexual intercourse. I think talking too much in sex lowers quality, honestly. Like, talking is cool as it happens naturally, like you feeling that you say something, but you can always tell when someone is forcing something. When you do that, you mess up the natural flow of lovemaking. And it suggests one of two things. One, you don't like it. Or two, your sex is bad and you're trying to overcompensate. Either way, it's not good for either of us, and it needs to stop at that point. So let's talk about belly breathing. I like this in particular because you have to use your diaphragm, which is the same muscle you use to play woodwind instruments like the saxophone and clarinet. So do I got something for you? Check it out. Yeah, I got another excerpt for you. Belly breathing. This is stuff that you can actually practice, right? You don't really have to you can start this, all right? Because I'm not here to make fun of overweight people. I'm here to help them out. So let's look at belly breathing, right? Excuse me, I won't do that on camera again. All right, belly breathing. I'm going to read this out while you read these steps here. Belly breathing. Most of us breathe very shallowly, generally into our chest and shoulders, which allows only a small amount of oxygen to be absorbed by our lungs. Belly breathing, breathing deeply into the bottom of our lungs, is the way a newborn child breathes. If you watch a sleeping newborn, you will see the child's entire belly rise and fall with each breath. Belly breathing allows us to replace stagnant air at the bottom of our lungs with fresh, oxygen-filled air. This is the healthiest way to breathe, but we lose this natural ability as stress and anxiety cause us to cut our breath and our breathing short. This anxious breathing is confined to our upper chest. When we are happy and laughing, we are able to once again to breathe into our belly. In this exercise, you will learn to belly breathe as you did when you were young. This is something else you learn in the gym. Inhaling through your nose. This is the snippet from the book here that I've already had up for you. Now, these steps to belly breathing are the same practices you use when playing the saxophone or any other wind-powered instrument. So you see here, when practicing any of the exercises in this book, always inhale through your nose, which filters and warms the air. When you inhale through your mouth, you breathe unfiltered, unwarmed air, which is harder for your body to assimilate. Another reason why I don't really think talking too much of sex is a good idea. You're really lowering the quality. Like, if you have the feeling for it and you got the vibe for it, do it, you know? If it's part of it, do it. But, don't force that fake stuff, man. It sucks. Like, if you're doing that fake stuff, you shouldn't be having it in the first place. So let's look at these steps you've been looking over. And man, I'm telling you, I've been doing this. Look, sit on a chair with your back straight and your feet touching the floor, about shoulder width apart. Place your hands over your navel and relax your shoulders. Inhale through your nose and feel your lower abdomen expand at the navel area, below and around it, so that it bulges outward. Your diaphragm will also descend. Keeping your chest relaxed, exhale with some force to pull the lower abdomen back in, as if you were pulling your navel back. This was literally one of the first things I learned to do in the 6th grade when I was practicing the clarinet before I gravitated to the saxophone. So I think it's crazy that I've been doing this stuff since the 6th grade, and I had no idea. I really didn't. Now look, the saxophone isn't considered sexy merely because of the aesthetic look. It's also because the techniques you learn while playing it makes you a better lover. The tonguing, the fingering, the controlled breathing. There's a method to the madness. Look, we're going to cover one more exercise, then we'll tackle chapter 1 in the next show. We're all stressed out. How we do anything is how we do everything. Look, an important element of sexual intimacy is laughter. If you and your partner don't share at least one laugh during sex, during intercourse, it probably wasn't done right. She has to say or do something goofy that makes you laugh. And you should do the same at least once. It should be naturally occurring. And that's how you know you're in a healthy sexual connection. Listen to this next breathing exercise. Belly laughing. And I'm going to put it up to you too. Let's read along. Belly laughing. Let me get this right. If you are having a hard time with belly breathing, as many Westerners do, again, America getting called out, you can practice belly laughing instead. A belly laugh is the kind of laugh that makes your whole abdomen shake. It is not the fake salesman laugh. It is the genuine laugh you have with your close friends. It is the kind of laugh that can make your stomach ache. Yeah, that's why I like comedy. Since most of us do not use these muscles very often. The assholes out there. To belly laugh, sit in a chair with your back straight and your feet on the floor about shoulder width apart. Place your hands over your belly and start to laugh from your belly. Feel your stomach vibrate. Vibrations. This belly laughing will help relax your diaphragm and let you breathe from your belly. It also will help you generate a lot of energy. Let me say that again. It will also help you generate a lot of energy, which you will later learn to circulate through your body for better orgasms and better health. Damn, I gotta say that again because y'all think I'm playing. Health and sex, man. Look, it will also help you generate a lot of energy, which you will later learn to circulate through your body for better orgasms and better health. Okay? I think that got you all curious enough. There's so much more in this book to cover. I just wanted to give you a little piece of it. You know, we could go on for 3-4 hours, but I like, you know what, let me break that up into different episodes so y'all can actually digest the things we're talking about over here. Okay? So on the next segment, on the next episode, we're going to talk about chapter 1. About brainwaves and the little death. Yeah, you heard me right, the little death. That's also the reason why you should be abstinent. I'll give you a tidbit about what the little death is. The little death happens when a man or a woman, when a man particularly, when a man has too much sex. When a man is having too much sex, he experiences the little death. That's when you put yourself in a constant state where you have to keep recreating sperm. And that's called the little death. And a lot of men don't realize that when you're having too much sex, it's not good for your health. That's why I say abstinence. It makes it better and it keeps you healthy. So we're going to talk more about the little death in chapter 2. All right. And we're going to cover chapter 1 too, you know, and also we're going to go deeper about sexual kung fu and the spiritual elements that come to play when you're doing this with a partner, because there is a spiritual element to this sex stuff. Okay. Look, we have to get back to the kingdom now. When you're a man or woman who works hard, I think you should be able to play hard too. And me, there's no way around it with me. Like, there's no way around it with me. I like to do bad things.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
I can't help it, bro.
I want to do it because it's fun.
Like,
It's
when
fun
it's
to
time
do
to have
bad
fun,
things.
let's have some fun shit. Like, seriously, I can't help it. Like, privately, of course, I'm very conservative. Like, privately, but when I'm private, I'm having my fun, you know what
I
I'm
want
saying?
to do hood rat stuff with my friend.
Yeah,
I want
there's
to
no
do
way around it,
hood
bro.
rat stuff with
There's
my
no way around
friend.
it. Look, I practice abstinence. There are times of the year where I should shut it all down. At least 3 months at a time. This is true. This is just me, Randolph, speaking. This is how I do it. At least 3 months at a time, I'll just shut it down. And it's not as hard as it sounds. The main reason I do it is, you know, as you go through life, you want to look back and see some kind of growth. You want to know that you elevated from where you were in, you know, when you were 20, 25. You want to see the progression. And I'm 36 now. And because I practice abstinence, when I do decide to get intimate, get intimate.
I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
Like, seriously. Like,
I
I
want
don't
to
see
do
no other
hood
way
rat stuff with my
because
friend.
I'm abstinent, bro. So when it's time to have fun, let's have fun. But because I practice abstinence, bro. Because I
I
practice
want to
abstinence.
do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad
And
things.
honestly, that's the truth. Like, I don't like the soft porn stuff. You know, it's got to be XXX. Like, I don't do that whole soft porn, you know, starfish stuff, man. It got to be some XXX getting it in type stuff if I'm going to do it. Or I'm just going to go back to being abstinent. I got no problem with it. You know, it comes from high levels of testosterone. Libido, high level of creative energy. That's the human experience. Now, there's much more benefits to a healthy life than just good quality, long-lasting sex. We also cannot deny that people who are healthy get it much better. That's the truth. If you're healthy, your sex life, if you have one, is much better than a person that's overweight. He definitely can't breathe right. He can't last more than 50 strokes. It's the truth. And I'm trying to help these guys, you know. But we have to get back to the kingdom. We already explained what the kingdom is, man. And to all the men and women out there on your health journey, remember, I'm here to help you, man. Don't get triggered by this stuff. You want to try these techniques. You want to be able to pull off these techniques. I'm here to help you. You can send me a message with workout. I'll get you set up with some workouts in a package. You know what I'm saying? The biggest thing you're going to get is me. But these benefits here, man, I'm telling you, they're great. Practice abstinence. And this is something that ties into health. I'm pretty sure you thought this was just going to be about some just sex this, sex that, some freaky stuff. No, this is health. As you can see, all these dudes out here, most of them can't pull these techniques off because they're out of shape. And I know, ladies, that you actually do like the way a man look. The problem is when you go outside, most men out of shape, they don't give a damn about how they look. We're going to go into detail about that on a later episode too, because I said we got a lot to talk about. So, before you go, I need you to do 2 things for me, all right? 2 things. Drink your water and mind your business. Peace and God bless. Till next time. The 60-hour network is on the move, as always.